Welcome back, sports gamers, to part 2 of my interview with Brian Hayes, creative director of EA Sports UFC 3. As we discuss the GOAT career mode in UFC 3, we talk about character customization, exporting fighters, Conor McGregor's input into the game, and answer more of your community questions. If you enjoy our UFC 3 coverage, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, enjoy. So this year, with the career mode fighters, will you be able to export them and use them in different modes outside of career mode?
So if you create a fighter for career mode, yeah, well, you can export them into, you can export that avatar into Ultimate Team, but you would have to recreate that fighter into for Fight Now right now.
Okay. And speaking of Ultimate Team, you brought that up. Great segue into a big thing with EA right now is dealing with the microtransactions and kind of the fan outrage from the Star Wars fallout. How are microtransactions handled in UFC 3?
Yeah, they only exist in Ultimate Team, similar to virtually every other EA Sports game. So, Ultimate Team is kind of a walled garden. It lives on its own in a vacuum, divorced from every other mode in the game. So there are microtransactions in Ultimate Team, but you don't have to use them in Ultimate Team if you don't want to. And then if you want, but if you want an online competitive experience that is microtransaction free, there's online ranked championships, which is the competitive mode. There's online quick fight, which is the sort of casual mode. And then obviously for offline, there's career mode. There's Fight Now, which has a standard Fight Now, a custom Fight Now, a stand and bang mode, a knockout mode, and a submission showdown mode. We added a new offline tournament mode this year. There's still custom event creator. So there's a bunch of modes in the game that there are no microtransactions that exist or affect them in any way, shape, or form. They only exist in Ultimate Team, and as with all Ultimate Teams, they are optional there.
So I played the demo, and it seems that the fighter creation was pretty much the same as last year. That's something that's going to be updated, or are you guys going to add more customization into the UFC 3?
We did add a few. I'm not sure if they were in for the beta or if maybe they were in for the final game, but for this year we basically added a whole bunch more tattoos, a handful of more sort of facial hairstyles and head hairstyles, I guess that's what you call them. I guess they're just called hairstyles. So we added some more customization options like that. I think maybe a couple more body type geometries as well. But in general, that's the extent of what we're doing to expand the character customization for UFC 3 at this point in time, again, because we spent really the bulk of our development on career mode itself.
Back to the career mode, speaking specifically about the press conferences and like the post-fight, pre-fight stuff, do you get to select the answers to questions, and does that improve your stats or change your social standing in the game?
Well, our approach to showing those press conferences or media workouts or the weigh-ins and stuff like that is a little bit different than what some people might be expecting. Your ability to interact with either UFC personalities or your rivals, etc., is through the in-game social media system. And then when you reach different milestones in your career or accomplish different objectives, that's when you'll see one of these cinematics, whether it's a UFC Minute or the UFC Bad Blood inspired versions, and you will see clips of your fighter at a press conference, at an open workout, at a weigh-in, stare-down, etc. And your answers previously, if you try and create a very heated rivalry with your current rival and always choose like the most aggressive response, then you will see a cinematic of the weigh-in that, it looks like the two of you are trying to, get at each other during the stare-down, etc. Whereas if you're a little bit more calm and cool and collected in your responses, it'll be more of your sort of standard, hey, we're just staring each other down with our fists up and there you go. But it's not a interactive choose your own adventure dialogue tree every time every time you see yourself at a press conference or a weigh-in kind of thing. What we found when we had tested games previously and just researching things is, if we send you to a weigh-in and a press conference and a media workout before every single fight, it's just a recipe for making every one of those things less special because it becomes very, very repetitive, choosing from very similar dialogue tree every single step along the way. So we tried to make your appearance and when you see yourself in these cinematics more of a rewarding experience that only happens when you reach certain milestones. So that it's not an interactive dialogue tree response system for the weigh-ins or the press conferences, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. So one of the big things that this year, of course, Conor McGregor's on the cover. Has he had any involvement with the game? Have you guys talked to him, met him? Does he have any input, or how does he affect UFC 3?
We haven't had a great deal of time to spend with Conor this time around. We did spend a little bit more time with him on UFC 2 because he did get voted on to the cover in that game as well. But he's been a really busy guy this year, putting together that big fight with Fred, etc. But really, I think the most important thing for him was he's going to be on the cover by himself with 2 belts. And as long as we were doing that and treating him right when it comes to in-game ratings, that was pretty much his concern. But when it comes to other
response.
When it comes to other UFC fighters, though, we had more opportunity this year to get some UFC fighters into the studio and into the mocap studio in particular than we ever had before. So that's been a big win for us.
So you did mention earlier about in the career mode you don't start in the UFC. So is there any ideas or thoughts going forward where you're going to add additional leagues outside of those 2 you're going to have in the game?
I don't think that's a massive priority for us right now. I mean, one, there's not too many other leagues there are some other defunct promotions that the UFC owns the rights to, but they're not particularly interested in resurrecting them even in a fictional or virtual format. And then obviously, this is a UFC game. It is a UFC licensed product. So any other current active promotions, they certainly don't have any interest in us bringing those into the game. So I expect this to really be the extent to which we do for UFC 3 for sure. Where things go in the future for the franchise as a whole, that's totally TBD.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and if you love our content here at SGO, subscribe. Also, stay tuned for the final part of our interview with Brian as we discuss EA Sports Fight Night. This is the Natural SportsGamersOnline.com. I'm out.